I'm going to talk a little bit about spring bulbs. So, we've gone through the spring, and now we're getting some of the summer bulbs blooming, but we've seen all the beauty that they have to offer us. But now we have this, and this is some passing daffodil foliage. Basically, the best thing to do is to let this ripen naturally. You don't have to braid it or any of those things. You can maybe clump it into a little clump and just let it age and ripen gracefully. It has to dry up naturally. Otherwise, there's a good chance it's not getting all the nutrients back to the bulb to bloom effectively next year. So it's really important that you let your bulb foliage die back naturally. And if there are seed heads forming on it, snap those off, because that will the seed formation can often drain some of those nutrients and that food from the bulb formation. So it's very important to snap off the old flowers. A lot of times in a tulip, for instance, you'll see a stem like this, and this is the actual seed pod or seed head that is forming, and that should be snapped off, and you just let the bulb foliage ripen. Other strategies are to maybe plant your bulbs with perennials, or underplant your bulbs with perennials that will come up over top and sort of obscure the foliage. So, for instance, daffodils have a grass-like foliage, so they make a really good companion plant with daylilies, because the daylilies have a light foliage. They'll come up and obscure this passing bulb foliage. Another strategy is to really push in your garden the early blooming bulbs, like the crocus, the early daffodils, the snowdrops, because that foliage is going to be gone much sooner than the big heavy daffodils or the tulip foliage. So those earlier flowering bulbs are probably a good way to go if you don't want a lot of passing bulb foliage. Another thing to do is maybe to work some of the big daffodils or tulips that have the foliage problem, move them towards the back of the bed, plant them in the back of the bed where they're not going to be as obvious or conspicuous. With that, if you have some time this summer, give us a visit. We are open 10 to 5 every day, and we're at the corner of Gift and Prospect, just north of the Peoria Zoo.